here they are, and fun story or fun fact, by the way, Michelangelo was actually 7-0 yesterday, and the only match he lost to was the last round against Lorenzo Santoni, pretty famous Italian player, who is the friend that borrowed the entire deck to Michelangelo, and also one of the few players in the room which was actually aware of what the deck was capable of, which is actually funny enough.
And let's see now who is going to be the winner of the die roll. And once I think Alfredo will find out what his opponent is playing, I think he will not be having a good time if he doesn't know the Vanquish Soul deck. So we will soon find out whether he will be aware of this.
And here they are, so obviously Sprite starting things off pretty nice. Let's see if there is a response. I think Ash, and yeah, you must use the Ash here, is pretty nice. When you start things off with starter, that might be an indicator of a pretty weak hand. Let's see. I think he just entered the main phase. He's playing Melfi Sprite, by the way, a version that we saw Dinkan Fan popularized, but has been considered by most the standard version. And yeah, he goes with the carry.
But I think he entered end phase.
I think so as well.
Right? Because I think it makes sense to activate the Ash Blossom on the starter right away.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely.
I mean, if you see the start, you just go with Ash, and basically you just hope your opponent doesn't have any other play.
Yeah, I mean, because usually you save the starter for last, baiting out some negation. But yeah, that's it. So Alfredo with the weak opening, ending his turn just on the carry.
And this is actually very unfortunate given the number of monsters that Sprite plays in general.
Yeah.
This is good news for Michelangelo for sure, that it now starts things off with Prosperity.
So for anyone who is not familiar with the carry, what it does is when your opponent declares an attack or summons a monster, you can bounce it back to the end, search a beast, usually the Pinny, that allows you to go for a Synchro. Level 4, usually you go for the Herald, but you can also go for the Merry Melfis, which has a compulsory-like effect.
Yeah. And I'm also wondering whether Alfredo started things off, I mean, because he didn't have any monster, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe he has some entrap, so let's see what Michelangelo reveals.
I think here Alfredo, looking at these, pretty much wondering what's going on, what is this deck, and as you can see here, he's gonna take a read. Cannot blame him. The deck is as new as it gets. Came out on Thursday, just 2 days ago. And yeah, he is gonna explain these effects. Basically, the Vanquish Soul archetype, we could say, is based on the attributes mainly. So they all have effects where they can reveal a certain number of different attributes, and they each gain an additional effect. But this draw is actually quite annoying for the deck, because most of them search. The problem is this draw also shuts down the Catty.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a double-edged sword, especially because basically Alfredo might be left with nothing. And
Yeah.
now the carry is bounced back
To the end, but he cannot search.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means that Alfredo really needs to pick up something from the top of his deck. So here they are, and now he might set something or go for the link 1, which is Rocket the Vanquisher. He's thinking about it for sure. I think it makes sense, why not? So what the link 1 does, Rocket the Vanquisher, basically as long as you control a Vanquish Soul, your opponent is forced to attack the highest attack monster on the field. And during the main phase of both players, you can either special summon a Vanquish Soul from the end or take one back from the graveyard. And this is exactly what we are seeing now. Couple of face down. By the way, Michelangelo on 3 copies of There Can Be Only One in the main deck, which is pretty interesting.
And I think this might be the first time this weekend seeing the card so far. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be most likely on Michelangelo's side. Here he starts things off with the carry.
Maybe top decking
Yeah.
Sprite. But he can also just attack over. But I think we see now the Vanquisher used to special summon back the monster from the end, which is gonna activate and search. But I think, yeah, Alfredo is considering just using the carry. Yeah, I think he's chaining it. Yeah. So Michelangelo gonna use his effect to get a search of a different Vanquish Shoal from the deck. And yeah, gonna explain the effects to his opponent.
And I think this is maybe one of the cool thing about deck and addition that have just been released. This is not the first time that happens. And when you're basically facing up a new deck that you're not super familiar with, besides not knowing all the cards, you also don't really know where to activate your interruptions. And I think this is one of the main reasons why Michelangelo most likely is doing so well at these nationals, because as you mentioned, he played against Antoni
For sure.
last round, which he knew all the cards. And this is good news, because now it seems like Alfredo, it's not sitting on a good
Yeah.
hand.
Definitely not. On the other hand, we went for the one of Pluton search, which is the one that you can special summon during your opponent turn. Okay, but at least the talent.
Let's see if you draw into. Oh, okay.
But you cannot use it. Yeah, unfortunately, cannot use it because of talent into draw, which makes that card pretty awful at the moment. And
face once again.
wow, just end phase into the carry once again. Pretty unfortunate here from Alfredo. But sometimes that's how it is, and an Ash Blossom on the Sprite starter was enough. Here we move on, and he's gonna go for the special summon of the Borger. Again. What this does is one of the best cards in the deck. You can bounce back a different Vanquish Shoal to special summon it, and this is what the level 7 plus does. And what you can do basically is that you get another search now by normal summoning once again the key card of the deck, which is the Raisin that searches one from deck.
And here is going for the carry, searching the Pinny, and then I think most likely we will be seeing the Herald, or either the Herald or the
Yeah, I
Merry
think
card.
most likely the Merry, maybe, but yeah, what happens is now Michelangelo gets one more search of his deck.
And I really like actually the Vanquish Soul deck,
Yeah.
putting up all these bodies on the field.
And now he goes to search Dr. Madlove and El Doctor, which can search a Vanquish Shoal Spell and Trap instead. And he's probably gonna use the Vanquisher to special summon one from the end, which should be the Madlove.
Yeah.
Okay,
Another draw.
but another draw to just stay in this game. This time, at least he understood that he had to go for the carry first,
Yeah.
which I think could have changed the entire game if he did the last turn as well, because he could have gone for the Nimble Beaver, because carry doesn't search just the Pinny, he can search the Beaver, and then he could have had a way to play, or at least hope that that would be enough.
I think Michelangelo entered
battle
battle
phase.
phase, right? Yeah.
We move to the battle phase. We just pushed some damage with the Raisin. 1800 damage. Still holding into both Mad Love and Pluton in his hand. But it seems like he's gonna use the penny afterwards to go for a special summon and a synchro summon alongside with the carry maybe.
And here comes, there can be only one being activated for the first time this weekend. An incredible and powerful card that we haven't seen so far, but here it goes.
Yeah, basically what this does, although this is usually not the best against the Sprite, it can be in a few situations such as the Nimble Beaver and the Melfi engine, because it basically would force Alfredo to go into the Herald instead of the Merry Melfi.
Yeah.
Potentially.
And I think this is a good catch from Michelangelo, basically understood that this could have, this is what could have happened, and yeah, they're just clarifying basically once the Penny activates, if this will prevent the Penny from special summoning the Merry Malfi. So just some clarification here. And here comes the arrows.
So good catch by Michelangelo, realizing, as you mentioned, what was going through. And since there can be is there, he cannot go for Merry, he's forced to go into the Herald, which at the moment is useless, and therefore this guarantees a +2 actually for Michelangelo, getting rid of both the carry and the Melfi. Main phase 2, he could go for Masquerade, maybe. What does he play? Let's see. Goes for the Nightmare Phoenix, which actually has an interesting effect that when it's co-linked just like this, they cannot be destroyed by battle.
Effect.
Yeah, exactly. But again, what this does is that it basically makes it so that, as you can see here, you can just chain potentially the effect of the Vanquisher, which gets negated now, to special summon back from the grave. But the Nimble Beaver actually doesn't do all that much at the moment. He can special summon the Angler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And here activate the quick spell, which basically allows Michelangelo
to special summon one from the grave, which is the Raisin. Did he not use the Beaver?
I think, right?
Wow. I mean, unless he has 2 Anglers in this hand, which could explain the brick, that would be quite unfortunate for sure.
Here, now Alfredo activated the Pot of Prosperity to stay in this game. I think Michelangelo is also holding a copy of Dronelock Bird in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, again, the best card you can find is Starter here, but might not just do it enough. And although in the I gotta say, most impressive way we've seen, it's still getting him there.
Yeah.
Let's see the scars. Nothing too spectacular. Gonna get an Ash. Wow. Pretty weak from Alfredo. And yeah, as you mentioned, he also is holding a draw, and
That's it.
yeah, Alfredo has seen enough, picking up his cards, and we are going to game 2. It is Michelangelo who takes this game 1 with Vanquish Soul. Definitely a surprising start to this day 2. We didn't see this coming, obviously, and I think not many of the other players did, but Michelangelo just exploiting this new strategy and trying to take advantage, of course, of other players not being too familiar with this deck, which brings up my second question, and that is, if you were Alfredo, what would you side right now?
Yeah, that's the main issue, because basically now in game 1, you didn't draw a good hand. You saw that with 2 draw locks being activated, basically, Michelangelo was still able, you know, to go through some combos, and then, of course, there coming only one was a very good card being activated. And then here, I think going first, honestly, I mean, there's the Night Corruptor Ibli, which, I mean, if you don't really know how to deal with your opponent deck, you might side in if you don't really have an idea of what the deck does. Because, like, in general, he's playing most of the cards for going second, just Banca drops, you know, the shifters, the Puricaras.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, you saw a lot of links, so Ibli is usually much worse, but if you can prevent the normal summon with like the double cross then or the smashers, you can be in a good spot, but funny enough, he doesn't play smashers. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Not even in the side deck.
I mean, we have seen players just relying on you know, the double cross and the gamma burst, or some players just playing the double cross
but
itself.
Sometimes in the side deck you do see
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I like it,
I
honestly.
think so as well.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, Michelangelo obviously much more experienced against Sprite, gonna side some options for this matchup. Most importantly, he could have the Kuricaras, which are pretty nice in these matchups. Outside of that, maybe the Cosmics, just because they usually do set at least a card, and it's nice to just prevent that or force out the Sprite Carrot.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think he should take out his Nibiru's. Those are pretty awful in the matchup because of Gigantic. And regardless, we are going to have an amazing game 2, which I think is about to start. So let's jump right into action. Here they are, and obviously it's worth mentioning also the experience that these players have. Michelangelo, Ermeulli, definitely the one more experienced. Even against top players, he is considered the, you know, the weak spot of another amazing player, Federico Megozzi, as even in LPS, so he's tending to lose just to him, but it's a matter of skill sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, after winning a national was, yes, you can't really
ask more. I agree. And that's why he's actually judging today, by the way, Federico Megozzi.
It's a humble person, you know.
Absolutely. But much better start, luckily for him. He even searches the cross, and we get to see the draw again. But if you search the cross, I think you have the starter, right?
I'm pretty sure.
And also, you can negate the draw if you want. And he doesn't negate it. Okay, interesting.
Because if you don't negate it, now I think you have at least another extender. Then you could go for Gigantic. Then, this is weird though that you don't negate the draw.
I mean, when you search the cross, usually you think, okay, just
now if he has an Ash Blossom, you basically lose.
Yeah, I mean, if you search the cross, you should have the starter, maybe, but I mean, he can also think that he can access this, but I agree. If here we see an impermanence, an Ash, you risk a lot. And yeah, we do see the Ash. Let's see. Wow. And that's it. Just the double cross, maybe an impermanence face down, and play is back to his opponent.
Because, I mean, sure, you have the double cross, right? But why would you risk it, no?
No, for sure. I mean, better question is, if you don't have starter, maybe you should go for starter, because you then negate the draw and you have so much that you can play through.
Yeah, I mean, I will take the starter anyways, and then if he goes for draw, you can consider whether to negate it or not.
Yeah.
Because now, sure, I mean, Michelangelo knows that there's a double cross being set and most likely an impermanence.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is you can avoid negating the draw if you have the starter.
yeah, exactly.
Because then even if you go for this and you get Ash, you can go starter and you still can come up with a few interesting plays. But here we see some cards revealed off the top of the deck from Michelangelo. Let's see what he decides to go for. Couldn't quite tell whether that was Melov or Pantera, but it was one of the level 4s. He has in his hand maybe another There Can Be.
So he has the Reborn, and There Can Be for sure.
I think so, yeah. But interesting, we do see immediately the double cross into the red. He wants to negate the normal summon search. And yeah, play is back to Michelangelo, who goes for the normal summon, but could just not use the effect and attack over the sprint. And then go into the Vanquish.
Link, and then you have the quick spell taking it back from the graveyard.
Yeah, it's the Mad Love, which searches a spell and trap, as mentioned, but it can also make one of the opponent lose 500. And I think you just attack, yeah. As mentioned, you can potentially attack. Wow, and he has hard drawn another of the huge Vanquish Souls, so it spins back. And that is huge.
This is Erboygen.
Yeah, this is Erboygen, or also called Vanquish Soul Heavy Borger, which is the one that would allow you to draw a card, unfortunately, for Alfredo. But you need to reveal a dark. And you can see Alfredo not being happy about the situation. Draw and lock twice in a row is definitely strong. But Michelangelo is debating his plays, obviously half damage because of the prosperity. And there can hurt a lot, just like in the previous game. Most of the sprites are Thunder, most of the other engines are Beast, so if you can combine 1 and 1, you can try to play, but otherwise there can be is really annoying. And that's it, play is back to Alfredo.
So would you flip the There Can Be immediately? If you were
I think you can totally wait. And let's see. We are gonna see now the prosperity from Alfredo.
But there, like, he had it first turn, right? So
yeah, he got drawled.
Yeah, but
like, I mean, you
go red,
obviously
jet,
negate
you negate the draw all the time.
I agree. But here, I think he's gonna use the Borger to draw the card, as we mentioned, revealing a dark. And this is pretty nice.
Yeah, here I think you either take the starter or the beaver, depending on your hand.
Yeah. And this is the nice thing about the Borger. It's once per turn, but it's a quick effect, which means you can pretty much use it to draw 2 cards. Here, I mean, Beaver and Starter are obviously both nice. You get the Beaver, but let's see if there is any response afterwards from Michelangelo. He's gonna allow it to resolve, and if here he summons the Beaver instead of the Angler, okay. Luckily for him, he did not. Gonna go for the gigantic, but even here you could have some problems if you activate the effect and your opponent then changes to their can be. Instead, makes sense. We are gonna try to go for the Zeus line with the Mosquito. Shadow Mosquito attacking. Summer is approaching by, and unfortunately mosquitoes are as back as ever. Even on the tables.
Michelangelo will make sure to make them vanquish, no?
Hopefully. Give me some vanquish soul if that's what they do. Yeah. But yeah, as expected, we do see the Zeus, and this could be actually really strong against Michelangelo unless there is an impermanence face down. Gotta make sure to read. So in the end, we knew the Mad Love. So worst case scenario next turn, what he can do is get the. But I think the face down might be also the quick spell, right?
Yeah, I think that's what he has.
So it shouldn't be impermanence, and this would mean that the Zeus is actually devastating at the moment. Yep, just waiting for some confirmation. Gonna have a think about what to do.
Oh, but did he pass?
Yeah, I think he might have just passed. So decided to wait, and we are gonna see what we knew. So Mad Love, gonna search a spell and trap, might be the Stake Your Soul. And it's Vanquish Soul, yeah, because you need to search, you cannot search the Stake Your Soul, you need to search a Vanquish Soul. Either the Dust Devil or the... And I think it was the Dust Devil, which is pretty much kind of like a Book of Eclipse of the archetype, we could say. And yeah, now they are saying, Michelangelo is saying, I'm the turn player, I have the priority to use the effect, and then my opponent can answer. So he's thinking in priority to actually go for the Soul Continue. Which allows him to pay 500 and target one in the graveyard to either special summon it or add it to the end. He's then gonna chain the Dust Devil, which, as mentioned, is kind of like a Book of Eclipse. What it does is you can change face-up monster your opponent controls to face down up to the number of Vanquish Souls you control. But Zeus is chained, and then, as you can see, we're gonna resolve the chain, and Michelangelo is still gonna be in a decent spot. Let's see if he can break this field from Alfredo, potentially going into more draws, or again into the third rock of the Vanquisher.
Because I'm not so sure that the Zeus not being activated before was the right play, because now you're risking it.
I mean, maybe he just thought that without any further play to continue, that he wanted to wait. And is that it from Michelangelo as well? Yeah, wow.
Okay.
So just the rock, gonna, you know, take it slowly. And actually, this game is being more back and forth than we expected. 30 minutes already down the line, and we are still in game 2 with both players on almost full life.
And now, with another special summon, is going to reveal 2 from his hand and just explaining his opponent some of the effects. Yeah, and now enters main phase 2. Another pot of prosperity being activated. And here I think that with this prosperity, 9 cards from his extra decks are gone.
Yeah. Ooh, and the last card is the one that matters here because he finds another Nimble Beaver, and that's exactly one of those that he was looking for. But when it resolves, it's when the Vanquisher is gonna be activated to get back once again the border. And as you can see here, drawing a card once again, and that's why he's playing a lot of hand traps. This deck can consistently draw more and more cards.
Looks like didn't draw any other interruptions here, and Alfredo, with this Angler, with this Beaver being revealed, might be able to go for the Gigantic.
Yeah, finally able to combo through. Let's see if there is a Nash, but arguably he could have used it right away on the Beaver. It doesn't look like there are many interruptions. Probably it's 0. I think it's all engine in the end. And this is nice. Actually, are you surprised that he put it in defense?
I mean, it looks like maybe might be using it later on for a Link Summon.
Because I think you can go for game with... I mean, if it's still in your deck with the Gamma Burst.
No, but he went Memphis 2.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, because he entered battle phase then with the Vanquishal being special
sense.
summon. Yeah, and then he entered Memphis 2.
Interesting though, right?
Yeah.
He knew about that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, I think he went for prosperity, so the damage would have been halved regardless. So pretty impossible to OTK there. But yeah, entering battle phase, not too sure. And it seems as if he's just gonna end his turn like this. Wow. I think Michelangelo is pretty reassured by this. And I am now sitting on 5 cards in hand. It's gonna be an important consideration on what to do. And he's first of all gonna start things off by drawing yet again another card. And now one more Vanquish card we haven't seen much of in action yet. Which is the Stake Your Soul, which allows him to special summon 1 from deck. And he goes to get finally the Raisin.
Okay, there's a draw.
But at least there is a draw also for Alfredo. Seems like draw is everywhere this weekend. A lot of players using it. Might even be the most popular hand trap of the weekend. And now he's gonna use the other effect of Raisin, revealing 2 different attributes, as you can see. Fire and Dark to destroy every monster in the card column, which is the Zeus.
The thing is that I think he might be able to get rid of all the fields from Alfredo, right?
Potentially, yeah, because now you get the Pantera, and the Pantera does the same, but for spell and traps.
Pantheron.
El Panteron. So what you can do is destroy the set card from Alfredo.
Yeah. Here
Exactly.
revealing once again. And okay, yeah, the starter is being chained, and I think this is what I really like about the Vanquish Soul deck, because basically you keep making pluses by adding all of your pieces from your deck, and then with all the different attributes from your hand, you basically get rid of you know, monsters and spells from your opponent's side of the field.
Yeah. As you can see here, getting the blue actually instead of, I mean, just getting one of the ones that he could have.
It's not even using.
No, because it's troll. So he
right.
cannot really search. That's why I'm surprised that he didn't go for like a red or a carrot. Even though they would have been attacked over, probably forgetting about his own draw, unfortunately, Alfredo. And as you can see, with 5 or 4 cards in hand, oh yeah, 5 cards in hand left for Michelangelo. This is impressive.
Yeah.
And it's always adding extra pressure to your opponent when you need to pay attention to your columns. We know that from back in the day with, you know, Mech Knights being in the format, it was always really, really annoying to pay attention where to play your field.
Yeah, and here we can see that Michelangelo is still continuing to bring on the field more vanquished monsters, explaining Alfredo what his monsters effect are.
Yeah, now he's gonna go for Cesare, which essentially can destroy another card on the field by revealing 3, and this is exactly what's gonna go here. He might destroy the last face down, and that makes a lot of sense. That is the impermanence, nicely kept for the next game. But, let's see. It seems as if this might be a swift, maybe not, because 37 minutes are down, but a 2-0 convincing victory from Michelangelo. And Pantheron is back.
Yeah.
And now we move to the battle phase to just attack over every single monster.
And as the old days with all the monsters.
Yeah, all in.
Clearing the field. Clearing the field, and I mean, impressive stuff from Michelangelo, honestly. We are really enjoying the Vanquish Soul decks.
Absolutely. This is nice, really refreshing to see a deck that came out just on June 1st, on the last Thursday. And that's amazing that we already see that in action this weekend. So for any of you guys, wild survivors, check out the set.
And here's
if you
the
want to play this game. And that's it. So amazing show off, but Michelangelo wins 2-0.